Welcome back to the new Channel Q. I'm Jay Rodriguez and Mikalah Gordon, and today we're joined by a true icon in the community. You know him from the boy band NSYNC, but he's gone on to do so much more, and we are thrilled that Lance Bass is with us. Welcome to the show, Lance.
Oh, hey, guys.
Hi, Lance Bass.
Lance Bass is literally the reason I got into radio, like backdoor style. When you were out, you'd invite me on to occasionally...
Pop.
Dirty Pop.
Oh, it was so much fun. We always loved having you on Dirty Pop.
You guys were fun because you would have liquor and food. You were always feeding us. It was great.
That's how we get the goods from people.
Exactly.
It's like, here, give them a drink.
But you had a comfortable style because once you got into the thick of things and things were up and running, then you just built a studio in your house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was
was really convenient.
It was so nice to be able to just roll out of bed.
Yeah.
And just go right into the studio 2 minutes before it's live.
I feel like you live the life I desire. Being able to do the show from home, having a restaurant where you could just eat and drink whenever you want. Nobody can tell you what to do. Nobody can kick you out.
Yeah. No,
you
it's
have
great.
I want to talk about also Bubble Tap, which is so fabulous because you've really turned into quite the businessman. You've got production companies.
Yeah, we got all that stuff. But let's start at the beginning. Take us through. So NSYNC.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the documentary in the next segment, but how can you just unpack with that experience for a lot of people who may not know the origins of how that came to be, because they just know you guys as a global phenomenon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, NSYNC, we started back in '95. I was 16 years old, junior in high school, getting my homecoming parade float together when I got the call from Justin.
Oh my
to come
God.
down to Orlando. He's like, yeah, we're putting a group together. It's kind of like Boys to Men, you know.
Not Boys to Men.
You know, we're that's our idols. So went down to Orlando, met the guys, sang with them, and immediately, like the first time we sang. And I think it was the Star Spangled Banner,
The national anthem. Yeah.
Which
to
is
see how we
also,
all
by the way,
blended.
the hardest song to sing
Don't start too high.
ever.
Oh gosh, no, especially for this bass. But yeah, so we sang and just everyone got goosebumps. I'm like, oh my gosh.
But you also,
this is it.
I remember NSYNC as being one of those bands where you guys had a lot of dancing.
Oh yeah.
Did you know right away that everyone could
No.
kind of move well?
Oh my gosh, no. I was not a dancer at all.
I'm
Look,
not either.
I'm a little kid from Mississippi. We did not dance at all. And so, we started singing together. I'm like, oh, this is great, and we basically just an a cappella band because we couldn't afford music. But then they're like, okay, we're going to dance rehearsal. I'm like, oh, what? Like record scratch? So yeah, it was fun to learn how to dance in a year.
No one, looking back now, I don't remember ever watching it, and I was like diehard religious. Like when Joey Fatone joined Rent, I was like, I better take all this stuff down. He gonna think I'm crazy. But I don't remember ever looking at the show and thinking anyone was like a weak link when it came to the movement. Like,
Yeah.
it was,
No.
Well, I mean, we worked so hard on it. So, I mean, it was. It took me a little longer to learn it, but once I learned it,
got
it was
it.
so much fun. And and our name is NSYNC, so we had a lot to live up
Yeah.
to.
right?
I'm like, damn it, what did I get into?
Well, Beyonce talks very openly about how she used to run on the treadmill and sing like that's what her dad used to make her do. Was it intense training? And was it training that you ended up being able to take in life later on that really helped you?
Oh, of course. It's I always tell people, being in a group like that is like training for the Olympics. I mean, you really have to. I mean, we were in a warehouse that was 110 degrees, no air conditioning, learning how to sing on a mic and dance without sounding out of breath. And it took us months, to really train ourselves to do that. So yeah, I love, Beyonce, they would use the treadmill. I wish we would have known that little trick back in the day. That probably would have sped things up a little bit.
No one's mad at the 110 degree warehouse.
Oh, it's
Okay, you get your
horrible.
street cred.
So I want to know, when did you guys know? You start the band, you have a manager, and we're going to talk about the documentary in the next break. But then you get into the space of your stuff is now on the radio. At what moment were you like, oh my gosh, we're like a big deal?
I don't think we ever felt that because it was such a slow role for us. The first 2 years we were together, we were in Germany. We were a German band. So, we would go over there and be, like the Beatles.
Did you know that, Mikalah?
No,
I had no idea either.
Oh, it was insane.
And I'm just trying to think, a little boy who's raised Southern Baptist from Mississippi who loves science is now in Germany with 4 other boys. Like, what a life.
I had to
How
grow
did you
up
adjust?
quickly.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I had my mom there because I was underage. So Justin and my mom's, his mom and my mom were on the road with us the first year. But it was, I had to learn I had to learn how to grow up quickly because I was with guys that were, well into their 20s and been living life hard.
Got it. Yeah. So you guys did the 2 years of Germany, come to the stateside, killing it. I remember TRL one time. I was on my way to work and we couldn't get through because the amount of fans had blocked basically Times Square, all in hopes to get a glimpse of the guys in the window in Times Square when TRL used to have bands like you guys on.
Yeah, and TRL was such instrumental in our career. I think if it wasn't for TRL, we wouldn't have been as big. And I think it was just that moment in time where it was before social media, so you had to be there every day after school to see what was going on in music.
Now great. I have a question for you. Now you're coming up, you're on TRL, you're hitting puberty, or you have already. These girls are throwing themselves at you, and I'm sure, like any young heterosexual boy, they're loving it and they're feeling it. Did you remember exactly how you felt? And did you know at some point that you wanted to come out, or it was just never going to happen?
Yeah, it was scary because I was in a group that 99% of our fans were women, and it was all about being that.
I was the other 1%.
I wish we would have had more guys out there. But, it was something that I just suppressed. I knew I was gay since I was 5 years old, so I knew I was gay.
Why? Like at 5, what happened? Was there
because I
anything
knew
that
I had a crush on
happened,
this
or-
little boy Chad in kindergarten instead of
Chad.
Shout out to Chad.
Yeah, I knew I was like, oh my god, I totally knew I
Lance
was
Bass
into
had a
boys.
crush on you.
I did.
If Chad only knew, do you think Chad knows now?
I don't even know Chad's last name. I have no idea where he's at.
Yeah. Every Chad who went to school with you is now like, it was me.
DMing him. They're like, hey, Lance, it's Chad.
Is it too late? I know you're married, but
so I was very well aware of who I was, but I also, being raised Southern Baptist in Mississippi, thought that I was going to hell for it, and I could never act on it. And it's just you get brainwashed into thinking that there's something wrong with you. So when I joined NSYNC, of course, I was still very religious. So it was a hard transition because the older you got, the more people want to see you dating.
Yeah.
Right? So it was excuse after excuse, and you would have a girlfriend, but then you wouldn't really act like the boyfriend in the relationship. And then I started really turning to alcohol, and and so it was an excuse for me to get so drunk I couldn't go home with a girl.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, did the boys know? Did anybody speculate, or did you ever confide?
No, I didn't. As long as I was in the group, I never told a soul because I knew if you told one person.
They would tell everybody.
I'm the same way. I don't
like,
say any secrets.
I didn't even tell myself.
Yeah.
So, but obviously we were best friends, so they knew, but they just
because I remember 2002-3 whenever Joey Fatone did Rent, I know for sure he did not know because I was like, are any of them like just the love, like 1 out of every 10? You got 5 of them in there, like
I know.
And he would not. He was like, no. He's like, no, Lance, not no, JC, no. Like they were like, no.
Yeah.
So he didn't even know back in the day.
Didn't.
But then a year later, Queer Eye hits, and I had seen you out and about in Los Angeles. We'd come to do some press. There was that party that Ellen and Kevin Williamson threw, and I went to give Lance a hug, and I go to hug Lance Bass. The camera caught it, but we at that time you were still very closeted. I was giving my friend a hug again. Did not know that he was gay, and they ran that photo, and it looked like I was trying to basically try to come on to you, and they're like, Lance sets boundary with gay, and I was like, I remember what they wrote.
Wait, where is this photo?
It was
Putting
like
it
Us
on
Weekly
Channel
or something.
Q now. We are channelq.com. You can
and
find
everyone
it on the website.
gave me such crap for that. They were like, why are you converting Lance Bass?
If they only knew my boyfriend was right next to us that whole time.
Right. I want to talk about this documentary, the boy band con. What's it called?
The boy band con. The
That's
Lou
right. I
Pearlman
got it
story.
right. That's right. So Lou Pearlman was your manager. Without giving too much away, I want to go into some of the things that people did know. It was news for Mikalah and I. We watched a documentary together. Lou Pearlman was your manager. So in the beginning parts of the band, he's the gentleman who kind of orchestrated and got you guys together.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. At the beginning, he did an audition because. Basically, he flew the New Kids on the Block on one of his planes, and because he owned an airline, which we'll get into later.
Got it.
I put quotes around that for people that can't see me. And so he was just. He thought it was crazy that New Kids on the Block were $1 billion business. He's like, I need to get into that. So he did an audition, created the Backstreet Boys, and then Chris Kirkpatrick went to school with Howie D from the Backstreet Boys. went to Lou Pearlman and said, hey, if I put a group together, will you support us?
Right.
And Lou was like,
Wow.
sure. So then Chris went out and found all of us.
Wow.
And that's how we all got together.
Sweet. So you get this. So now you're doing this stuff. You're making a name for yourselves, whether it's in Germany, become back stateside. Lou is still your manager. At this point, I saw in the beginning of the video packages, there's lots of shots of you in his pool or by his Rolls Royce, who I guess he'd let you guys drive every now and again. So things are looking pretty good, and you're like, this is going to be really successful.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't even tell your parents that they won't have to work in the future.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I mean, they sold us a whole bunch of goods. I mean, they painted such this amazing picture that you really wanted to believe, and you saw the success that Lou had and all his riches, and you're like, wow, you can't help but dream that you could be able to have a place like that.
Yeah, or a small portion of any of that.
And he's promising it to you, you know? And so, so they know how to reel you in.
Yeah.
Good.
Now, at what point, and I'm just going to be completely frank, I was gagged. Like, I could not believe the amount that you guys were taking advantage of, and that so many people
with the dinner
were.
that we saw, the dinner with the 10 million records sold, you were promised some kind of check. This is when Mikalah, I had to practically fan her because she almost passed out.
I really did.
10 million records.
It was unreal. Because I want to ask, before we talk about that actual check, what was going on as you were not receiving any money? Like, what was the point where you're like, something is fishy, there's something wrong, I'm not seeing anything?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for the longest, for the first few years, we didn't even think about it because, money to us was icky. We didn't want to talk about it. We were lucky to be where we were at. We wanted to be humble.
Wow.
So we didn't ask about the money, knowing that, it'll eventually. I mean, it's gonna
get here.
We got to pay back what we got to pay back, and it's gonna hit us all at one time.
I want you to say this just advice for people listening, and I'm actually just asking for myself. I feel like as entertainers and people, we're very, very quick to be like, well, I should just be grateful, and I don't want to ask for too much. What advice would you give to somebody who has that mentality still, that's in the business or trying to get into the business?
Yeah, I mean, ask all the questions and have help. Have an entertainment lawyer be your dog.
Okay.
We didn't have entertainment lawyers look at our stuff. It was just, just family friends lawyers that looked at it and they're like, yeah, looks like a contract to me. So, they didn't know all the little details of, recoupable and all that type of stuff. So, I mean, it was the worst contract in music history. But I would tell everyone, ask all the questions. And in any field, ask everyone else's salaries and all that type of stuff. We all need to be open about what we all make because it's only going to help all of us get what we deserve.
I agree. So we're here with Lance Bass, in case you were just joining us. All right, so let's talk about the moment that kind of is in the top of the documentary where this is the part Mikalah and I were like, knock the wind out of us. 10 million albums sold. Lou Pearlman invites you, and I think in your families.
Oh, yeah.
To a dinner at Laurie's steak shop, kind of fancy.
Steak shop.
Yeah, whatever.
Not a steak shop, Jay.
Steak restaurant. You get
A
there.
steak store.
You get there, and he hands you each an envelope. And now you're with your family. This is the moment where it's the culmination of all your hard work in financial form before you. You open the check, and then what happens?
This is what I was talking about. After so many years, we're finally going to get this crazy check. He invited our families, even our label president in Munich. Everyone was there. And then we open up the check, and it was for, tell them,
$10,000.
$10,000.
Now, what do you do? I want a real reaction. I want to know the dirty pop of how you felt, because surely you were like, this is a joke.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I know JC and I just kind of were like, what the hell? Are you kidding me? But again, we were so humble. We said thank you, and
no
we
one
were just
said anything.
No one said anything. No, not
And
at the
Lou
time.
doesn't say anything.
Oh, everyone was
he's
celebrating
like
it was
go.
such a big thing. Everyone
Wow.
was just so happy, and and I'm
That's
just
so not
fake
what I'm sure people would
smiling.
imagine would have you know what I mean? Because 10 million records, to the average person, I mean, you were selling millions of records a week. That doesn't really happen anymore. But it did then, and that was to us on the outside as fans. Someone says they sold 10 million records. I'm like, they own all the mansions in
rich.
Malibu. Yeah, in my mind.
And don't forget the merchandise and the touring and all. I mean, it was
He
like
got a percent all that too.
took all of it. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So without giving too much away, when is the moment that you realized now that you may never get that money back? Like, here's the thing. You're only getting $10,000, but that is millions lost that you may never see.
Yeah.
Did it put you in a depression? Like, what were your feelings after losing something like that for your mental health?
Well, I mean, it just pissed us off.
Yeah.
So it made us work harder. That's how No Strings Attached, came about. And we knew we would never see that money because he was legally stealing from us. It wasn't like it was, that he was scamming us. I mean, he was scamming us, but he legally was, taking this percentage. So we knew we had to get rid of him. And that's why we went through all the lawsuits. And I mean, he sued us. We didn't sue him, by the way.
Right.
And then the judge kind of let us out of that contract because there was one little thing in there saying, you need, if he doesn't sign us to an American record deal in a certain amount of time, we could walk.
Perfect.
And we signed with Unit.
I had no idea that's what No Strings was attached. That's the one with when they're like,
yeah, it was
where they're
one
puppets.
Of my, oh my God, it
Bye,
was one of my
bye, no
favorites.
strings attached.
So good.
Peace out, Lou.
Oh
and
my
that's
gosh.
insane. That's so wild.
By the way,
to me.
Mikalah Gordon, back in 2000, and I think it was early 3, the Wax Museum of Madame Tussauds on 42nd Street unveiled the NSYNC guys. If you ever want to go there, you didn't like yours?
No.
No.
Did you have an Ariana Grande moment where it was like, not me?
I'm
Did
like,
you see
y'all did
hers?
not spend enough
Also
time
terrible.
on mine. Sorry. It was weird.
So he did not look like you.
It's just, it looks like me, but in a pose that, it was just not natural, and it looks like a photo of you kind of halfway smiling, got caught in it.
What with Lance Bass? What's the process for him? Because Mikalah would like a figure of herself.
I'm actually making one
a wax
for
one?
myself and putting it in Madame Tussauds. They've not asked, but I will be. And then I put one in Rocco's.
Do they measure you, or they dip you?
Oh,
in
yeah. Oh, no. They measure every inch of your body.
Oh, well.
And then you sit there. You're sitting there for hours standing there as they sketch you out and all that type of stuff. So it's like a whole process.
Intense.
Do you have a say on what you're?
We do give them the clothes.
Got it.
Yeah, but they pick my hair is what's really horrible in this.
I thought
What
is it
does
not
the
the
hair
bleached
look
tips?
like?
No, they tried. They really
Oh,
tried.
bless.
But again, and I look really greasy. Also, I look
bro.
put some powder on them
You're
or
like
something.
powder the wax figure.
come
Let
on.
her live her life.
But you've produced documentaries before.
I have, yeah.
And so this one's exceptional. It's really eye-opening. But I want to shift gears, talk a bit about your business ventures. Everything from Jack's, which is a mixture company you have, but also the Bubble Tap, which is kind of like bubbles on tap, port like mobile. And then your new restaurant bar in West Hollywood called Rocco's. So let's start there because Mikalah and I have been. We got really drunk.
Well, we're not going to say what happened,
it was
but
your birthday
went.
party.
My birthday was such a
And
shit show.
because yours was good.
But also you had this band that was like everything, and we were in the front row.
I'm having my birthday party there on June 22nd. I can't wait. But how did this venture come to be? Had you always had your sights on opening a bar restaurant?
Yeah, for a few years, I've been looking for a place to, create for the LGBT community. In fact, my business partners I started with 3 years ago, that was our first goal, and we just could never find the right spot.
Yeah.
And then these guys at Rocco's Tavern, this is their fifth one, and it's all about the neighborhoods they're in. Usually, there's one at USC, UCLA, and then the one in Studio City is the one I would always go and watch football at because I love my football.
Yeah, Mikalah and I love sports ball too.
Yeah, totally.
sports
I don't
ball's good.
understand what that means, but I think it's fun.
So,
I hate balls altogether. Get it together.
Yeah. So when they got this spot right on the corner of San Vicente and Santa Monica, which was the old Citibank.
Perfect spot.
Talk about location.
It's the best spot.
So they came to me. They said, we've always wanted to do an LGBT sports bar.
What?
And I'm like, I think this could work.
Yeah.
You know what's so interesting? I remember a few years ago, I and still now, but especially a few years ago, people kept saying, I wonder
what
when
this
they're
is gonna
going
be.
to do this.
Yeah.
I wonder if they could ever combine sports in West Hollywood, because there was a huge desire for it, and truly nothing
And
like
I don't think
it.
there's anything like this. I mean, we have like gym bars, but that's not the same. High Top's not at all the same. You have this beautiful wraparound. I'm sure your friend Lisa Vanderpump is a little jealous of your location.
Well, she has the other corner.
She has the other corner, but your bar wraps around. You can literally drink outside. Like it's outside. It's a beautiful
we're in Los
space.
Angeles. You
Yeah.
want to be outside.
Yeah.
Now, I have a question. My dog's name is Rocco, and so every day we walk past and I'm like, look, Rocco, there's your place. What was the inspiration with the name Rocco?
It actually came. These guys all worked at a Rocco's Pizza shop. There's still Rocco's Pizza,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's where they all first started. 3 of the guys lived in Staten Island. They were best friends, and then one of them's from Orange County. And then they all started working at different gay bars, in West Hollywood. And then they got enough money to, basically start their own Rocco. So they bought the pizza place, they gave it to the employees, and then started Rocco's Tavern.
What?
Yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
sweet.
Yeah. And it was funny because last night I met a lot of those original employees that they gave the restaurant to.
That is so
That's
sweet.
nice.
With
they're
Lance
still-
Bass, guys, talking about all his new business ventures. So, if I don't want to give the wrong idea. It is a sports bar, but at night it completely
Yeah.
transforms. Tell us about that.
It transforms a lot. It's definitely during the day and when there's Super Bowl and all that type of stuff, you're gonna have some great games played. But it turns into a club.
Like club,
I mean, like,
Michaela.
No, let me tell you, you do this also. There's a girls' night, which I've been to.
Ladies' night on Thursday.
On Thursdays, and you can get so wild, but you still have enough room
Yeah.
to breathe.
Isn't
It
it
doesn't
weird
get
that there's
hot
still,
or
like-
congested.
Yeah, it's like organized chaos.
It's totally organized chaos. And I want to know when you have all different types of events there as well. Like we're actually having Jay's 40th birthday
That's
Right,
there.
Club 79
We're
disco
so
theme.
excited, but it's still classy.
But Michaela and I love a cocktail. Talk to us about you have Jack's, which is the mixer company, and then the Bubble Tap. So let's start with Jack's and tell us what that is.
Yeah, it's called Just Add X. We wanted to create this mixers line. We didn't want to get in the alcohol business because that's just hard and very competitive. So I just figured, when you go and get bottle service at a club or anything, you get the same thing. Cranberry,
I hate that.
tonic, like Red Bull. I'm like, why don't we have good tasting mixers?
Yeah.
So, we spent a year perfecting these great craft cocktail flavors.
Yum.
And
So smart.
and they all work with your favorite liquor. It could be whiskey, vodka, whatever, but they all work with your
Are
favorite.
they
That's
available at
amazing.
Rocco's?
They're only available at Rocco's right now.
Hey!
That's right. I gave them the exclusive. But we'll hopefully be in grocery stores by the end of the year.
Nice.
Wow.
And Bubble Tap is basically a mobile champagne.
Yeah.
Or tell us about that
Let me
because
say
that's
this,
cute. Yeah.
because we were at Coachella this year,
And we
our
saw
first
it.
time ever, and I was like, "Girl, who brought the bubbles on tap?" I put my mouth up to the tap. I was like, "I don't even need the cup." Turns out it's yours. It's so incredible. So how did that happen?
Yeah, I mean, two of my girlfriends were in Europe and they saw this like pedicab one, bubbles on tap.
Yeah.
They're like, why doesn't America have this? So they came back and took this old trailer, turned it into what it is now, and it just kind of blew up from there. And that was only a year ago. Wow. And now we're in several states. They're all over the place. And now we've expanded into the micro tap, which is our beer one, and we have a cocktail tap. So we have
What's on tap in the cocktail one?
anything you want. We can keg
What does
anything.
that mean?
Like if you like Jack and Coke, we could keg Jack and Coke.
Your Tito soda, Michaela.
Honestly, I'm so irritated that I'm not you. You're everything to me. All right, well, listen, you have a thriving business. You've written books. I mean, you've done everything to me, but you also have a really beautiful marriage. We love your husband so
Michael.
much. I have to say this. I feel like you've done so well as an example for our community. I feel like you give back to our community. I feel like you've never left. You're now right in the heart of West Hollywood. But you set a great example for what love looks like, whether it be hetero or homosexual. You have a great relationship. Tell us about Michael and how you guys met.
Oh, wow. We've met in Palm Springs at a birthday party that neither of us were really planning on going to. And then we didn't even see each other at the birthday party. It was on the way home. And I was saying goodbye to the birthday boy at the house and saw him in the jacuzzi. I'm like, oh,
Wow.
we're
Let's stop
alone.
right here.
We're
Yeah.
alone. And of course, I thought he was straight. So I'm like, of course, I'm attracted to the only straight guy here. But then he Facebook poked me on the way home.
Oh, that means
We
something.
love
That's
poke.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. And I'm like, oh,
You're
okay.
like, in I go.
And then again, he didn't think I liked him. Yeah, right. We didn't think we liked each other at all for a good month and a half. So we were best friends for that whole.
I
we
didn't know that.
Oh yeah, like I was like, I have to spend every day with you so that I get over my attraction to you.
I've done that too.
And it just got worse.
Oh my God.
So when did you break the ice? Who did it first?
Well, it depends on who you ask, but he, because I'm not shy to make the first move at all, right?
Okay.
But for some reason, I just was with him. And he never would make a first move.
Oh, boy.
But he did. He leaned in first. We were having some wine on the couch, and he leaned in to kiss me, and it was all over after that.
And you got married. I went to the wedding. It was beautiful. You had your dogs walk down the aisle. Lisa Vanderpump was a bridesmaid. I remember I was in the row of comics.
We had the comic table.
We did. That was at the comic table. And as you came down the steps, because we were like reading everybody before, because we're all single in this row, and everyone looks so gorgeous and celebrating love. And you come down the down the steps. You take your place with. I think your mom had walked you down, and I think Michael's mother walked him down the aisle. And literally, we all welled up at the same time, and without missing a beat, Justin Martindale leaned over and said, we're all going to die alone. That was it your way. But I want to talk, because Michael's an incredible artist, and Mikala's right. You have these booming businesses, and you're doing so great in entertainment. Are you guys going to consider starting a family? Is that something on the radar? Or?
It is. In fact, we've been working on it for over a year now.
Wow.
It's, we were supposed to be pregnant last August.
Yeah.
And, just things don't work the way you really plan things. But we've gone through 7 different egg donors now. It just so happens that it just don't work with us. And then, so now we're on our 7th, and it looks like it is going to be the one.
Yay!
Oh my God.
We are super excited about it. So I would say I will have some good news in the next few weeks.
Lance, you could have had my womb anytime you wanted.
Wait, but
I would never do that to you.
Housed your children
Mikalah,
for 9 months.
Now, he is a married man, and they're about to start a family.
I know.
You want a family, 4 years together with Lisa, no ring. Any questions? You want any advice?
Well,
you need
I'm a
here?
mother now
Okay.
to Lance and Michael's children,
Right.
so Lisa's out of
Would have
here.
been a lot cheaper if you would have had our kids. That's for sure.
She would have done it just for like free Starbucks for a year
Just to
after
go
the
to
baby.
Rocco's for Jack's. I'd be like, can I just get the bubbles on tap? I want to ask you this in all seriousness, because I think it's so wonderful that you guys are expanding your family, and I know that Lisa and I will too at some point. What is the scariest thing for you knowing that you're going to be a father soon?
Everything.
Are you nervous?
I'm so nervous. I'm so happy because all I've wanted to be is a father. But it's scary because now you are so your life changes completely.
Yeah.
It's not about you anymore. And, I've been selfish for 40 years, right? So it's now not about me, and I'm ready for that. But I'm scared for them to get in a car already, and they're not even here.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna be a nervous Nancy the whole entire time.
Did you talk about names? Like, is someone going to be Papa? Someone going to be Daddy?
No, we haven't thought about that yet.
Yeah.
It'll probably be whatever the kids end up.
Right.
Just calling you.
Yeah.
Now, if your son or daughter came out at some point in their lives and they told you that they were gay, how would you feel? What advice would you give them? And to maybe any listener that's young and is having a hard time coming out or hasn't yet?
Well, I mean, at a very young age, my kids are going to know that they can be whatever they want to be. Because, again, when I was 5 years old, I knew I was gay, and I needed someone to tell me that was okay. Yeah. And people say, oh, they're too young to know. No, they don't. The kids know everything already, especially with the internet. They're Googling it at 5 years old. They know everything. So, you just have to be open and honest. Be like, hey, you might like a little boy or a little girl when you grow up. But you can't put them in, like I was, typecasting me like, oh, this is your little girlfriend. They kept pushing, your little girlfriend on you at such a young age. And so it kind of puts this mentality in your head like, well, that's what I'm supposed to be.
Right.
Okay, this doesn't seem right.
Yeah. Well, all right, Lance Bass, we always appreciate you joining us here on the Morning Beat. We've been trying to get you on since the moment we launched.
Yeah.
Busy schedule. So this might be the last summer for a minute of the Lance Bass pool parties that you're so known for.
I know. Well, we'll get babysitters for maybe once a year. I got to do something, to feel like I'm young again. So
now where can people go to find out more information about Bubble Tap and all the other things you have going on?
Yeah. I just go to my Instagram. I'm pretty much only on Instagram these days. I feel like Twitter's just dead.
Yeah.
I still do that stuff, but everything I do is on Instagram, and you can find all of that stuff.
I love it. And also we have Lisa. I want to give Lisa some shout.
Hi, Lisa.
Lisa,
We
your
love
bestie
you.
assistant. She's been with us forever. Every time I see Lance, I'm always looking to make sure I say hi to Lisa too, in case I don't want to miss
I know,
her.
two
12 years
peas in
now?
a pod.
I think 12 or
12
13.
years?
13
years together.
You've been
wow.
best friends for 13 years.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we should
They
also
look
be
great.
so lucky to have a Lisa in our lives.
Yeah.
I love Lisa. Well, Lance,
I do have a Lisa in my life. That's actually her name too.
I'm the only Lisa-less person. Jeez. All right. Well, Lance Bass, come back whatever you want. Give our love to
thanks.
Michael.
Love you,
And again,
yes.
we're the Morning Beat. Keep it here on Channel Q.